Pilgrim's new Junkpits update added a huge new area players can explore. This is the guide on every single one of these and what to expect. Obviously, there's spoilers ahead. I recommend not watching this video and experiencing the update blind if you haven't played it yet. Once you recruit Betsy, Ul will start the elevator and send you down to the town of Lichenshire. Lichenshire acts as a main area where you can ask different NPCs to join the Junkpits expedition. These NPCs include Boyle, Demio, Trinks, and Kai Bai. All of the main NPCs do different things. Boyle gives you tasks to do to obtain techniques, Demio scouts out where one of the 4 roaming bosses are, and Trinks sells you food. Kai Bai eats said food. Why are most of the Kai Legion addicted to food? Besides that, we also have the Mine of Iron. The Mine of Iron splits off into 4 segments that all lead into different sub-areas. The rightmost section leads to the Malachite Springs. This is where you can get Malachite and fight the Verdi Queen, which is used for Betsy's quest to obtain Moraline. The leftmost segment leads to a house where you can obtain the Glass Shield. The uppermost segment leads to Mount St. Rhubarb, where you can start the Highway Sun quest line. You can find one of the paintings in a cave here. And finally, the bottommost segment leads to the landfill. The landfill is a desolate wasteland filled with trash and bugs. The left margin of the area leads to the scavenger's place, where you can use a slingshot to access the upper part of landfill. Upper landfill has falling rocks that fall every once in a while to screw you over. There are certain locations around the landfill that spawn the 4 different roaming bosses. The Witch of Dove, Rodini, the Electric Clown, and Verdi Queen. Only one boss can be active at a time, and killing one spawns another after some time. Okay, so it turns out the Verdi Queen doesn't spawn as one of the 4 roaming bosses anymore, so disregard that. Heading to the very end of the landfill leads you to a big pit where you can find the second painting. Checking out a waterfall near the entrance of Upper Landfill initiates a boss fight with Conservator Lorcan. Once you beat him, you'll be able to access the backside of the waterfall that he guards. Behind the waterfall, you'll find a statue. This statue requires you to offer different kinds of fish in order to unlock the Post-Pescatarian Archives. Here, you can find Lieutenant, the leader of the Post-Pescatarian Guild, and Gordon, which gives quests for said guild. Progressing the guild requires you to fish for an amount of a certain fish. Here's every item you can get by ranking up in the guild. Heading towards the other segment of landfill leads you to a tunnel, to the factory approach. This section will be the longest because I explain where every single keycard is. Feel free to skip over some stuff. Following the tunnel leads you into a sub-area where you encounter a mini-boss, which you don't really have to fight. Reaching the end of the tunnel spits you out at Factory Approach. Factory Approach is brutal. There are Daedalus drones everywhere, which, by the way, chase you everywhere and are unavoidable. And you can find Icarus drones, which like to screw you over with this one giant death beam laser attack. If you have trouble with this, you can use Noxious Mortar to boost yourself up and head to Kronos' lab peacefully. Using this path, you can also find the 3rd painting here. If you keep going straight through Factory Approach, you'll find the Bear Mafia's family business, where you can find a mirror and buy some very cool guns. Heading to the very top of Factory Approach initiates a fight with the Rusty Pig. The boss fight isn't really a big problem unless you fear a lot of bleed stacks. If you suck, you can jump up here and pester the pig without getting hit. How do I know this? Don't ask. The lab itself has 3 paths that you can go through from the start. Since the only door that's open is the left one to you will go to the left door. Follow the path and enter the vent. Run up to the burning area, and here, you'll have to fight the Candle Knight. Good luck. Like seriously, I had to fight the Candle Knight 9 times before I got the Knight's Glaive, which by the way, is a 33% drop chance. Anyway, after defeating him, you'll obtain the red keycard. When leaving, you can find a door that allows you to open up a part that you've been before. Now you can enter the middle room. Backtrack into Biochem and you'll find Observer Shelly. Shelly asked him to go to retrieve 2 more keycards to unlock the Grand Terrarium. You can obtain the last 2 keycards around the rooms to the left of you. Follow the paths until you reach this room. There will be a vent in the top left corner that you can traverse into. Fall into the shark pit and keep following the path. Once you enter the furnace room, head to the right and follow the path until you find another vent. Enter it and you'll find a machine that gives you the second keycard. Now, backtrack into the open Gemini room and you'll find another open door. A cutscene plays and my GOAT Prism Troll rams into a bunch of doors and enters a room. In this room, you'll find the last keycard. Also, you can find snow slugs here, which have a pretty neat little history of being a scrap Snow Highlands enemy. Now, backtrack to Shelly and you should be able to enter the Grand Terrarium. There, you'll fight the one and only Millennium Chimera. Good luck with that. Roam through the factory sanctum for a bit and you'll find a mirror. You can also find the titular VR headset where you can go play Nullscape to unlock items. This area also leads to the Forgotten Starshore, where you can obtain Nova Crystals and slaughter the peaceful mobs. Lastly, in the room with the mirror, you can find the final painting. You might be wondering why I've mentioned all these mysterious paintings located all over the Junkpits. Well, you see, these paintings all lead into unlocking the final boss fight. To start out, talk to Highway Sun and Mount St. Rhubarb and accept a quest into unraveling the secrets of the highway. Traverse the monastery until you find a statue with the cleric right next to it. Attack it a few times and it opens up, leading you into a hidden library where you can find the book. Once you give this book to Highway Sun, he'll give you the torn autograph. Using the locations the autograph vaguely points out, we can find the 4 paintings that lead to the canvases of the Golden Vista. The first painting is located under Mount St. Rhubarb. This one is the simplest canvas to traverse. Follow the path and parkour the rocks to reach the top and acquire your first seed. The second painting is located in the large fallen landfill. This painting is a little more difficult. I recommend bringing some friends along as it's pretty stressful alone. Follow the path like normal and light the brazier in the auditorium. This will start the gauntlet. The first 2 waves will consist of nightmare enemies, the second 2 will have painting enemies, and the last 2 will spawn clerics, chalkmans, and graphite knights. Once you finish, parkour up and grab your second seed. The last painting, located in the factory approach, requires you to do this very dark obby. Glide over the first few courses because you can, and once you reach a split in the road, go to the right side. Stick to the side till the boulders don't hit you and jump over the circle pits. Reach the lever and go back to the split in the road, and go to the left side. Escape the cave and parkour to your last seed. Once you have all seeds, go to the painting in the factory sanctum and prepare for the boss fight. Try not to bring a tanky build as they're redundant against Misgiving's decay status effect. Now, about Misgiving. Misgiving is a pain. Using any sort of tanky or defensive build is redundant because decay cuts your max HP by a bit for each stack you have of it. Prioritize a burst damage or a glass cannon build because trying to live out the fight is out of the picture. Get it? I recommend using the Icy Flute and a ranged weapon for this fight. Yes, I know this is cheating, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Using the Icy Flute makes you invincible to the Phase 2 Ground Slam puddle, and you are able to jump over and escape most of Misgiving's attacks. Other than that, hope the Highway Sun carries you because this fight is Misgiving. Every character that owns a shop in the Junkpits include Limo and Betsy in Lichenshire, Wormald and Man in the Window in Scavenger's Place, Ponpelmo in the Mine of Iron, Wolfgang at the Bear Mafia, Duffy in the Upper Lab, Rat in the Abandoned Carnival, and Rhymes Olive in the Archives. Now, if you want to craft some of Olive's weapons, you need fish. Luckily for you guys, I've conjured up a list for every single fish location.
Here's the bell.
You mean I'm awake?
The Killer Chicken is a boss that you can fight after obtaining the Egg of Pain from Shrinks. The boss is located in an area near the entrance of the landfill. The fight is pretty difficult as it has moves that make the chicken really difficult to run away from. Also, the boss has a challenge medal drop. Heading further down the pit where you enter the second painting is a small cave that leads to Tir Na Tin Reach, which then leads to the Fun Carnival. At the far corner of the park, you can find a tent. The tent contains a vent that drops you into the bubbling cheese sewer, where you can obtain the rat flute in a very late April Fool's joke. Going to the other side of Factory Approaches Canyon leads you to Not Yet. This area is most likely a future area for Junkpits Part 2. I'll definitely make another guide when that comes out. And finally, there's also a room where you can find an ominous note in Chronos' lab. Whatever that means. Thank you for watching my guide. Tell me in the comments if there's anything I missed. And also,
Yo Skibbity DJ, I'm a huge fan of your music. I've been dancing to Skibbity all day.
Thanks, bro. I'm glad you like my music.
I was wondering if you can sing for me.
Sure, I'll hook you up.